What's up, guys? It is Tuesday, March 14th, 2:30 a.m. and this is a crypto newsletter, and it's kind of like a newsletter deep dive because I go down a couple rabbit holes. I connect some dots that I haven't seen anybody else connect yet. And I'm back, baby. I love doing this, connecting the dots and aligning theories together and kind of bringing the data and the facts to show the connections. And I think you'll see it here too as we go out through this video. So if you're new here, subscribe, hit the notification bell, get updated in real time when we drop these deep dives, market updates, newsletters, you name it. Let's dive into it. Oh, first off, I just wanted to say, I love the vibes in here. The Discord is popping, great family vibes, positive, no negative stuff, no bickering back and forth. I love the community that we're building in here. So congrats to everybody today who we made the announcements on. Very well deserved. So let's keep going because now we're going to dive into it. We got Silicon Valley Bank crisis, a Cyprus moment for Bitcoin. So when did Cyprus happen? 2013 Cyprus crisis. And what was Bitcoin doing at that time and what was going on at the time? Silicon Valley Bank is a blessing for Bitcoin, crypto observers said, drawing parallels with the 2013 Cyprus crisis that underscored flaws in the fractional reserve system and brought attention to decentralized, censorship-resistant Bitcoin as a hedge against centralized banking. So as we go down here, basically there was bank runs, same kind of stuff that's going on as we speak right now in the US and throughout the world happening in Cyprus, but this is more on a global level now. And what was Bitcoin doing at the time? That was when Bitcoin went into its hyper boom. It's hyper boom back here. So you had right when 2013 hit, boom. That was the whole Cyprus crisis right here. This shoot up, and it was quick. It was quick. So something like that, right? Who knows? Bitcoin could be very well headed into a scenario like this. And this is something that we've been kind of saying from the jump of this year, that it was going to be a hyper boom type year based off of a ton of factors. But now we have the factors that popped up over the past week here playing a role into it as well too. And they're already drawing comparisons and parallels to back to 2013. This is more at a kind of global level, a wider scale. So the implications and the effects of this could be multitudes bigger. That narrative is already starting to build. Meanwhile, Monday's liquidations meant 78% of all Bitcoin future traders took on losses. So it sees the highest liquidations in 2 months at just over $24,700 during the Asian morning hours on Tuesday. So this was just a few hours ago. And if we're seeing 78% of all Bitcoin futures traders took on losses getting liquidated at 24,700, I would say we're getting ready to gear up to go over 25K. That's just kind of what I'm seeing here. It's what I'm feeling. It's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but based off of this fact alone, the odds of going up are higher in my opinion. And I'm going to be betting on the other side. I know in the Discord, I know the Star Gang was not on that side of things because in the Proof of Gains chat, it was popping off. We saw the whole gang sending in the gains yesterday. So definitely love to see it. And that's what we're seeing right now playing out. 78% of all Bitcoin future traders took on losses and getting liquidated in the highest in 2 months ever since January 14th. And that was likely the same kind of scenario. People were shorting and then we went up. And then basically people are shorting now thinking, oh, we went up too quick, this, that, and the other thing. And we could very well be going up again. So there's a lot of things though going on. This week we have, well, of course, what went down with Silicon Valley Bank, but federal officials closed a second bank, said it would bail out all depositors in the wake of Silicon Valley Bank. So basically Silvergate, Silicon Valley, and then what was the other one? Did I say Silvergate? Silvergate, Silicon Valley, and Signature Bank. So that's who we got, who have shuttered in the past 3 days. So now you have President Biden coming out. This is a huge deal. Sometimes when you're in the midst of it, it doesn't feel like it's a huge deal because it's everything that you've been kind of waiting for and kind of expecting. So when it's happening, it doesn't seem like it's happening, but it's happening. And President Biden tweeted, "At my direction, Secretary Yellen and my National Economic Council director worked with banking regulators to address problems at Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank." And it turns out there was no problems at Signature Bank. But I'm pleased they've reached a solution that protects workers, small businesses, taxpayers, and our financial system. So he's trying to establish confidence back into American people, American businesses, saying, kind of giving that confidence and being like, all right, we'll be there to back all the bank deposits. But that's going to have implications. And here was the kind of funding program, the bank term funding program. And this can last until March 11, 2024. And advances can be requested under the program until at least then. So we're seeing that money printer is going to flip back up. We're going to see the system get flooded with liquidity. And that money's got to go somewhere. And the value of the dollar is going to continue to depreciate. And it seems like bond yields have come way down, and we'll cover that in the market update later. So definitely subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a like and a comment. Tell me how you're feeling about these times. Crazy times we're living in right now, but it was very well expected because we're at the key moments. Along with all that's happening right now, we have a lot of other things coming up. Digital Euro Conference, March 31st. Be part of history and attend the Digital Euro Conference and discover the future of digital currencies. So this is all happening. It's all happening as we speak. So we have that coming up. We got to keep on our radar. We also have coming up next week, the BIS Innovation Summit 2023, Technological Innovation in an Age of Uncertainty. And there's a whole lot of uncertainty going on right now. So the BIS Innovation Summit brings together global policymakers, senior executives from the financial and technology industries, and academics to discuss how technological innovation could help central banks and financial markets to navigate uncertain times, and at the same time disrupt the landscape in which central banks and financial intermediaries operate. A global conference, you have all these people talking at it, the United Nations Secretary General Special Advocate, you have the BIS General Manager, Financial Times there, ECB, Christine Lagarde, Monetary Authority of Singapore, Bank Korea. So you have all the huge central banks there. And you have, if we go down, let's see, you have the IMF, the New York State Department of Financial Services. So you have all the big wigs there. You have SWIFT, cross-border payments, all of them are there. And that is coming up next week. All at the same time, ISO20022. So after being delayed in November 2022 launch date for ISO, we now have March 20th, 2023 as the new date of the new standard in financial messages. So March 20th, and that's exactly when I believe the day after we have the BIS Innovation Summit, then the Digital Euro Conference, all in the wake of everything that's going on with the banking sector. Crazy, unreal times. So let's read a little bit on this. So the new go live date for ISO, March 20th, that's literally a week away. So there has been much noise in the banking sector about ISO 20022. It's just so convenient, right? So this upgrade basically is changing everything in the banking sector. Meanwhile, all of a sudden there's a banking sector crisis, right? Problem, reaction, solution. So an investigation paper found that 63% of banks believe they will be prepared by November 2025. Let's keep going down. So basically this phase will coexist with the current MT message format system, but there's an expectation of being fully compliant by late 2025. So it's going to coexist for some bit. And then November 2025, the coexistence period ends. So that goes to the point that we may not see immediate price explosion like everyone may be expecting here. It's just a matter of the switch has been flipped, and now it's all about kind of having that flywheel go into motion and playing that out until the coexistence period ends, and then November 2025, boom. Now it's all running through this new standard. So definitely don't get your hopes up for a certain date for moon to happen, just more over. I mean, at the same time though, with everything happening with the price action, the narrative and stuff, it is kind of lining up, but there's also so many other things going on. We have Wednesday, We have a FOMC meeting. So are they going to deliver a rate hike? Are they going to pause? Are they going to cut rates? This is coming up. And then we have the CPI today, and then the PMI, I think this week as well too. So there's a lot of stuff happening. So there's definitely a lot of curveballs that could pop up. So we're going to be on it, but join the Discord. Make sure you're being kind of attentive to it if there's any kind of urgent messages being sent there. But as you can see, ISO, all these things aligning at the same time. And then the switching from, winter to spring, the changing of the season and just changing of the times and the symbology around that. So there's a lot of other things that are co-aligning with all this as well too. But then you have SWIFT. As the data-rich ISO20022 standard goes live on March 20th, the global payments industry readies for its benefits. Increased operational efficiency is among them, says Isabel Schmidt, co-head of payment products at BNY Mellon. So there we go. Now, and they're talking about currency controls, if it meets those requirements. Yeah, so basically this whole new standard is being implemented, which basically kind of puts the genie out of the bottle and really enables a future of innovation in payments. And now let's go to this. So SWIFT to conduct more tests with CBDC projects. So the banking network is seeking to build a system that will connect the digital currencies to different countries. So a project run by interbank messaging company SWIFT to connect central bank digital currencies offers clear potential and value. That's for sure. So the project, which included banks such as France's PNB Paribas, Italy's Intesa Sanpaolo, and the UK Standard Chartered, as well as the central banks in France and Singapore, will now move on to a second phase of testing to assess applications like trade finance and securities settlement. So as far as cross-border payments goes, they already kind of got that on lock. Now they're starting to test new applications like trade finance, security settlements. So while interest in CBDCs is growing, so is the risk of fragmentation as a widening range of technologies and standards are being experimented with. So that was the head at HSBC. Adding that SWIFT project could lead to faster, cheaper, more secure cross-border payments. Then it's talking about Bahamas, Nigeria, UK, European Union, and the IMF and Bank for International Settlements have called for central banks to cooperate on their work as regulators seek to cut time and costs of making cross-border payments. So there's this big push behind that for interoperability and setting up their domestic payment systems with interoperability in mind for cross-border payments. So ultimately they could reach the holy grail by the end of this decade, which will be the interlinking of all these domestic payment systems with CBDC and autonomous like foreign exchange conversion built into it. And we already know what's facilitating that. So, and there'll be a hub connecting to all these CBDCs to facilitate that cross-currency conversion of the CBDCs. And we already know who's been positioning themselves for so long to do that. So let's keep going because there's more connections. SWIFT CBDC Sandbox project, March 2023. So connecting digital islands, like I said, the interlinking of these domestic, these kind of all these separate fragmented payment systems. Maybe some are on the same kind of, they're using the same thing, but still not all countries going to use the same kind of architecture, the same governance controls, etc. But if they have the interoperability standard built within it, they can still connect to all the other domestic payment systems and have the foreign exchange conversion automatically integrated in there via a bridge currency, right? So all this kind of plays into each other. So while the sandbox simulated CBDCs networks using the DLT technologies Corda and Quorum, some participants are using proprietary technologies and non-DLT technologies to build their CBDC networks. A number of participants are also exploring further private permission DLTs, such as Hyperledger Fabric in particular, and SWIFT will look to support this technology along with other proprietary and centralized architectures in the future development of the solution. If we keep going, CBDC implementation and technology selection, participants agreed that CBDC networks could be implemented using permission DLTs or centralized architectures due to ongoing privacy and regulatory concerns with public DLT implementations. With this in mind, SWIFT was able to confirm the feasibility of hosting a cross-border message identifier on the network. There we go. So let's keep going, because on top of it, we have the kind of the US with this crisis starting to develop solutions or call to actions for the US banking system or approach to supervision and regulation of banks, and pairing that with crypto related activities and calling out like kind of supporting innovation with guardrails, same type of verbiage. I mean, they've been saying that, but now there's an actual event. So maybe now they'll have the juice to be able to enact it. But the Federal Reserve's approach to supervision and regulation of banks' crypto-related activities, remarks by Mr. Michael S. Barr, who is the vice chair for supervision of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System at the Peterson Institute for International Economics, Washington, D.C., March 9th. So Michael S. Barr, right? If we go to Michael S. Barr on Crunchbase, you can see that he is an advisor to Ripple. He's an advisor to Ripple. And if we look at his past, he's a law professor at the University of Michigan, senior fellow at the Center of American Progress. From 2009 to 2010, Michael served as the U.S. Department of Treasury's Assistant Secretary for Financial Institutions, where he was a key architect of the Dodd-Frank Act. He previously served as Treasury Secretary to Robert E. Rubin's special assistant, also to Bill Clinton, the special advisor, and then so he's tied up. And he was also special law clerk at the Supreme Court. So having those ties as well too, given the case and everything like that, for sure is helpful. But Michael Barr, heavily tied up at Ripple, he's the vice chair for supervision of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. He's on the board of Ripple. It's kind of set in stone right there. There's so many things. And that's just don't even get me talking about Rosie Rios. But if we look at this, we see he says, I'm here today to discuss what we have learned from the recent turmoil in the crypto sector and what role supervision and regulation should play in helping banks manage their engagement with the sector and the innovative technologies that support it. Despite recent news, we have not lost sight of the potential transformative effect that these technologies could have on our financial system. And we need to be careful lest regulation lock in the power of incumbents or stifle innovation. But the benefits of innovation can only be realized if appropriate guardrails are in place. I want to talk about how we are working to provide clarity to the banks we supervise about what we have learned and about our supervisory expectations. I will wrap up by sharing some thoughts on stablecoins. It isn't hard to find evidence for the need to discuss crypto, but let me start with a recent personal experience. Okay, so there we go. So we're seeing calls to action like just yesterday, he's on Ripple's board. And then if we go to, I don't know if he's currently on the board or I think he was on the board, because I think that's definitely a conflict of interest if he's now there. But I believe he was on the board, but still. And then Bill Clinton spoke at Ripple's annual conference, Swell, back, I think 2017 or 18 or something like that. So then you saw the connections between Michael Barr and then Bill Clinton as well too. So then if we keep going, we got Michael Barr, Modernizing Financial Institutions, September 2022. And then let's hear this.
I have been working on issues of financial inclusion for a significant portion of my career as a public official and as an academic.
A part of Ripple. Okay, this is back in 2015. Former Treasury official Michael joins Ripple Labs. Okay, just to go over it. And then in 2022, he got nominated. Nominate Michael Barr, a former Treasury Department official, to serve as the Federal Reserve's top banking regulator, the White House said. Okay, and this is him getting sworn in, and we got Jerome Powell there. It's only going to get better, folks. Okay, you're going to be shocked. So, and he talks about financial inclusion. Ripple accelerating financial inclusion through technology. And we got the Modulo Foundation. Ripple and the Modulo Foundation creating a more financially underlined inclusive future.
At a more basic level, we need to focus on access to fast, efficient digital payments. This is a matter both of efficiency and of fairness. Low-income households can ill afford to wait days for their income checks to clear, nor can small businesses. And I'm so pleased that we've made progress on instant payments under the leadership of Vice Chair Brainerd and Chair Powell. And I'm looking forward to doing whatever I can to support this work, including the launch of FedNow service.
And then we got Jerome Powell saying this.
And, I think we can get this into the hands of the public very quickly. And I think we'll have real-time payments in this country very, very soon. And so that's a good thing.
So there we go. So that's adding some kind of connecting the dots along with it from 24 hours crypto. So then we keep going, and then we already kind of read about this, but for a little bit more, according to the Atlantic Council, more than 110 countries are currently exploring a CBDC. Almost a quarter are expecting to launch within the next 1 or 2 years. We're here. But the digital islands, we could lead to a fragmented landscape consisting of digital islands if left unaddressed. And they talk about interoperable and how that is the key thing. So technological evolution in the global payment space can unlock a range of exciting new possibilities in financial services. We will continue to innovate and experiment with our community to develop real-world solutions that support our strategic focus to enable instant, frictionless, and interoperable cross-border transactions for value in all of its forms. Because the way that value is going to be expressed and kind of represented is going to be a whole new ball game. So then we add, on top of it, the BIS completes Project Icebreaker Central Bank Digital Currency Pilot, where we already kind of did a deep dive on this, but they had used R3 Corda as well too, and Quorum, and it was a proof of concept, required the hub. So a hub to link the R CBDC systems. I don't know what the R is supposed to mean, but let me see if I can see real quick. It doesn't say what R is. That's interesting, but it's a prototype enabling the system to access quotes from a range of preferred foreign exchange providers to process the transaction. Multiple Forex providers can submit quotes to the hub, with the hub automatically selecting the cheapest quote available. Sounds to me like Ripple's liquidity hub. And it's funny because it has the R at the beginning than CBDC systems, but that could just be R3 Corda, so R CBDC, who knows. But it's offering a standard set of APIs, providing simple and streamlined connectivity for participating domestic RCBDC systems. So we're having it all there, and it's providing streamlined connectivity to the hub to enable cross-border payments. All the same stuff that we've been looking at. And if we keep going, Quant, I believe Quant has Overledger. Yep. So Overledger, and that is basically connectivity and interoperability between different blockchains and legacy systems. So, Quant, it's not going to be one to rule them all, but as far as a bridge asset to kind of do the foreign exchange conversion and the actual value transfer and value exchange, I believe XRP is going to be, because you have Interledger, which is like, let's say, the blood, the veins, keeps everything moving. And then you have Quant's Overledger, which is kind of the cherry on top, the one to kind of connect it all on the top. If I were to think about that, I'm not as kind of deep into Quant, but maybe it deserves kind of a deep dive. So I'll add that to the list. But as you can see, Quant has integrated Bitcoin, Ethereum, and I'm not sure what this one is, XRP, Matic, Polkadot, XDC, not sure what that one is, and Avalanche. Oh, you have Hyperledger Fabric, Bisu, and yeah, so these are the ones that they support, Quant. So we can really narrow down the ones that are going to be in the game, that's for sure. But there you go. February 15 bolsters DLT security and interoperability with secure asset transfer protocol. And then you had Corda. So here's another bit of kind of connecting the dots. This 5 days ago, Sandboxes in Corda 5 Java Security Manager. Corda 5 supports multiple virtual nodes sharing a single Corda installation and multiple core dApps, Corda distributed applications running with the same Corda Java virtual machine, it looks like. And this introduces the risk of one Corda app interacting with another or with the Corda platform. That interaction could be unintended, like a simple dependency clash, but it could also be malicious. Sandbox is an execution environment within a Java virtual machine process that provides isolation for a Corda dApp. So you have Java, right? You have this kind of sandbox, and it's connecting, or I believe it was like the APIs. So supporting multiple nodes with a single Corda installation, which is probably API. And then if we go to this, right? This is Hyperledger Foundation. So another one of the big consortiums. You click on NTT Data, and NTT Data and Everest are developing the Interledger Java implementation of the Interledger protocol in order to make distributed ledger platforms and blockchains interoperable with existing financial ledgers. They are also working with banks on implementations of distributed ledger solutions for cross-border payments and trade finance. NTT Data is implementing services with oil and gas and manufacturing companies in domains like commodities trade and supply chain tracking. Current developments at NTT Data are blockchain as a service on Ethereum and integration of EWA digital wallet platform IP with digital currencies headquartered in Japan. So, as you can see, some big stuff developing behind the scenes. So, we know who the players are. We know what the goal is, we know the timeline, and we know if we just stay the course, then we'll end up prosperous on the other side. So whole lot of things to watch out for this week, for the whole rest of this month. And I believe that April we'll see a lot of the dust settle, but wild times ahead. It's going to be a roller coaster ride. So definitely come join the Discord, say what up, get in there, kind of get with a community right now before things get crazier than they already are. And then also subscribe, hit the notification bell, get updated in real time when we drop these newsletters, deep dives, market updates. You want to be updated right away. So leave a comment, leave a like, and I will see you guys in the Discord. Also, don't forget, there's a ton of other stuff coming up, like the Digital Euro Conference, the ISO Big Bang this coming weekend. Also, the Technology Innovation in the Age of Uncertainty BIS Innovation Summit. And I believe there is one other thing. Nope, there wasn't. So yeah, so definitely a big week. Definitely a big week. We do have the CPI today. It's going to be volatile. We do have a Federal Reserve meeting tomorrow. It's going to be volatile. So definitely be on alert. It's going to be fun. So I'll see you guys in the Discord and in the next video.